everybody, in this video I'll show you how to play School by Nirvana off the Bleach record. The song is in standard tuning, but before we begin, remember to like and subscribe. That way you get notified when I post new videos like this. I post new content at least once a week. And check out my website, scottobryanguitar.com. I have the tab for this song, as well as hundreds of other punk, rock, and grunge songs up there. And here we go. Alright, so as far as equipment goes, for this video I'll be using my Fender Twin Reverb 65 reissue amp, and I'm using my Boss DS1 distortion pedal. That's all the pedals and effects I'm using for this tone. If you like the sound of the DS1, I've got a link in the description where you can buy it off Amazon. I do get a tiny commission off of that. It helps support the channel, but I'm mostly just doing it because I like this pedal, and I think Kurt Cobain either used the DS1 or the DS2 on this recording, so I think it kind of mimics his tone really well. And so we're going to start off with the intro, and for the intro we're basically going to just roll our volume knob back to 0, and we're going to strike just like pretty much the bottom 4 strings or so, and then we're just going to roll the volume on. And that's how you get that kind of tone in the beginning, and that kind of fades in. So and then we're going to go right into the riff, and the riff is basically all on the low E string, so it goes like this. So basically we're playing with all downstrokes, and we're going to be playing basically a straight time 8th note rhythm, and then doing these bends on the 5th fret as kind of accents. So real slowly it goes like this. And so these bends are going to be like almost a full step up, although I don't think they quite go a full step. So like a full step would be somewhere around there. It's a little shy of that. So, and then when we get to that third bend, before we start the riff over, we're going to do a little bit of vibrato at the end. So. And that's basically it for the whole riff that's going to go through the intro and the verse. So. And then the chorus goes like this. And it goes back into the verse. So for the chorus, we are going to be playing a C bar chord. And Kurt Cobain likes to play his bar chords with 2 fingers. So index finger rooted at the 3rd fret of the A string, and ring finger bridged across the 5th fret. And a lot of people will play this like a power chord. So would normally just play the D and G strings, but Kurt Cobain's going to play probably the B string as well. So with that ring finger. So. And then we're going to go to this A, and it's going to be a palm mute. So, and again, Kurt Cobain, when he plays pretty much all of these chords, like normally you would play either a major chord, bar chord, like that, or you would play like a power chord and just play the low 3 string. But Kurt Cobain's going to turn these chords that are rooted on the low E string into sus chords, and play a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times is going to play that that 7th fret on the G string. But here we're not going to do that. It's just kind of a note for like when you're learning Nirvana songs. A lot of times he'll play all the way through, and it gives it kind of a different tone than you hear in a lot of music. So, but instead this time we're just going to do like a palm muted, the bottom 3 strings, E, A, and D. So, and this time our index finger is rooted on the 5th fret, ring finger across the 7th fret, the A and D. So far we have. And you're going to kind of open that palm mute up, like release that palm mute as the chord goes on. So it gets a little bit more full. Then we're going to go to an open E. And he's going to kind of hit those low strings first. And then he's going to let those high strings ring out. So. And then we're going to go to an open D. And when I like to play that D, so that I don't ring out those bottom two strings, the E and A, I like to kind of mute them with my thumb. So you're just going to get... So... And then we're going to just kind of start over. And then it goes back into the verse. And so those are all the rhythm parts to the song. It just kind of repeats. And then after the second chorus, we're going to go into the solo. So the whole solo all the way through is... And for the solo, I'm going to kind of break it down into chunks and show you how each chunk works. So it starts off with a part that goes like this. So it's basically the same thing repeated 3 times. It's just a little different each time. So the first time, we're going to strike the low E string. And it's like 2 or 3 times. Sometimes it's that, sometimes it's kind of an ad-lib solo, so it doesn't have to be exact. And even that's kind of like what Kurt Cobain was going with a lot of his solos. They're very Greg Ginn-esque, where they're supposed to sound like kind of out of control and discordant. So you don't have to play this perfectly. He like almost never plays it the same when they're playing it live. And I have a feeling like even in the recording studio, there's kind of a framework of what he wanted to play, but it wasn't like completely nailed down. So again, we're going to play the low E. And then we're going to go to this weird chord that Kurt Cobain likes to play. He even plays a similar thing in the first song off In Utero. And I think it's Serve the Servants. And so we're going to basically, it's like this diagonal line chord, which I like to call it. I don't know the real name of the chord, but it's you're going to play with your index finger at the 10th fret of the A, your middle finger at the 11th fret of the D, and your ring finger at the 12th fret of the G. And so you get this kind of almost diagonal. And it kind of sounds like a jazz chord. It probably is a jazz chord. And then sometimes he's also going to play the 12th fret of the B string too. So we're going to go. And we're going to do that little bit of like muted notes in between. So we're just going to lift our fingers off the strings so it makes that click sound. So, and then we're going to slide up. And the first time he's going to play with it like a power chord almost with his index finger at the 13th fret of the G and ring finger bridged across the 15th fret of the B and E. So it goes. And then the second time, it's going to be the same form, just slid down 1 fret. So we're going to go index finger rooted at the 12th fret of the G, ring finger bridged across the 14th fret of the B and E. So. And then the third time is going to be the same as the second time. So far we have. And then the last time, we're not going to play any of those high notes. We're just going to do a slide down. So again, slowly all the way through. And again, this is kind of a framework of what he's playing. It's not exactly what he's playing on the record. There's a little bit of difference. Sometimes he hits the 12th fret on the B. Sometimes there's a little bit of kind of different notes in there. But this is the gist of what he's playing. And so we do that slide. So we're just gonna, I like to use my middle finger at the 12th fret, and then we're just gonna strike that note and just slide down. And so for the next section of the solo, it goes somewhat like this. So we're going to start with a bend at the 2nd fret of the G string, and we're going to kind of catch the B string with our finger when we bend. So, and we're also going to pick it too. And then we're going to do this descending pattern within the minor pentatonic that goes like this. So we're going to do the bend. And we're going to kind of slide up when we do that, so. And then we're going to hit that low E. And then we're going to do like a hammer-on, open to 2nd on the G string. And then immediately slide up. So. And then we're just going to kind of play that 7th fret for a little bit. And then go to the 9th fret of the G. So again, slowly through that first section. So then for the next section of the solo, we're going to end up here. And then it's going to go like this. So we're basically moving back down to that 2nd position on the G string. And we're going to do this hammer-on pull-off. So. And then ride that 2nd fret. With some vibrato at the end. And then we're going to kind of continue with a similar pattern. So. And do a big bend, end at the big bend on the 2nd fret. And then we're going to do this descending pattern in the minor pentatonic. It's going to kind of go up and down. And then we're going to end with a slide up to the 7th fret from the 2nd fret of the G. So one thing I like to think of as a framework for playing this song is Kurt Cobain sticks within that E minor pentatonic in the open position, mostly on the low E, the A, D, and G strings. So, and with a lot of riding on between open and 2nd fret of the G string. So you can kind of ad-lib in those spots. And then at the end of the solo, especially, he's going to move up to the 7th position of the E minor pentatonic, and he's mostly going to play the top 3 strings. So we're going to go 7-9, 8-10 on the B, and then 7-10 of the high E. So you can also ad-lib within those positions. So if you don't want to play it exactly, and again, this is probably an ad-lib solo that's a little loose anyways, you can kind of ad-lib within those positions and kind of feel out the phrasing he's going for. So far we have... And so then for the last section of the solo goes like this. And so again, this is kind of an ad-lib. It's not exactly what he's playing, but we're going to work within the framework of that E minor pentatonic scale in the 7th position. So 7-9 on the G, 8-10 on the B, and 7-10 on the high E. Again, at the end of the last section, we slid up to the 7th fret of the G, and then we're going to kind of work up. So slowly we're going to work up. So we're going to kind of go back and forth on that 7th, 9th fret on the G. And then end on that 8th fret and kind of hold that of the B. And then we're going to kind of go back and forth. And then we're going to do a big bend at the 10th fret of the high E. And then we're going to do that hammer-on pull-off. And it's kind of like that. And then we're going to go back down to that 10th fret. And then we're going to work our way back down. So far we have... And then we're just going to work our way back to... And go back and forth on that 7th, 9th fret of the G. So... And then we're going to kind of begin this descending progression, which is outside of that scale. It's kind of a different scale, starting at the 9th fret of the G. So 9th to 7th, 7th to 6th, 6th to 4th, to 2nd, pull off to open, and then end on the 2nd fret, G. So the whole solo all the way through is... And so again, that's basically an approximation of the solo. Kurt Cobain probably ad-libbed that thing. It's kind of hard to do it note for note because it's kind of supposed to be a little wild, a little bit atonal. So that gives you a good framework of how you can play that to approximate what he's doing. And then the song just kind of repeats and ends on a chorus. And so it ends like this. And that's the end of the song. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked the lesson. Remember to like and subscribe so you get notified when I post new videos like this. And check out my website, scottobryanguitar.com, and click on the link for the DS1 if you want to pick one up. And I'll see you guys next time.